Well, hello, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Our next trolley stop is here, and our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new episode of PR from the Heart's Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. To be precise, we have reached episode number 47. That is the 47th trolley stop here at PR from the Heart, here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. My name is John Masiulionis, the manager of PR from the Heart, the co-host of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, joined as always by my faithful furry friend and forever companion, little Forrest, who reminds all of us that we're not only co-hosts on this beautiful program, but also in this beautiful journey. That's right, little Forrest, that we like to call life. Little Forrest is also wanting me to remind all of you, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars, that the release of my new children's book is now available. Walking Each Other Home, Zachary's Mission, a Hospice for Children, illustrated by Roxana Barwinska and published by Trolley Stop Publishing. Thank you to all of you across the country and around the world for your support of the launch of Walking Each Other Home, Zachary's Mission, a Hospice for Children. Joined as always each and every trolley stop here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. You remember him and you love him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the popular long-running children's television program Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We know him and we love him as David Newell. David, I know that there is a lot to celebrate because we are actually recording this episode of the Bookcast on what would have been the 97th birthday. We're celebrating the heavenly birthday of Mr. Rogers, and I had the chance to be able to watch a wonderful interview that you actually did with our friends and neighbors at WTAE recently as part of their public affairs program For the Record. So I know that you have been busy as well, too, on your end of things.
Oh, I have. WTAE, by the way, is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's where we made Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. In fact, the first appearance by Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood actually was on WTAE before it went to public television. It was on during the holiday season for about 2 weeks leading up to the holidays. So there's a lot to celebrate there. Anyhow, we celebrated Fred's birthday, and I was glad to be able to help out. And here we are today celebrating some more books, right?
We are, and we are actually one trolley stop away from the 4-year anniversary celebration of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Stay tuned to this very trolley stop for more details on that. If you are new to the program, David and I, we take the time, as a little tip of the cap to his character, Mr. McFeely on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, we take the time to deliver heartfelt reviews from the newest children's books that are available on the market from the shining stars in the world of children's literature, both published and self-published authors, to let parents, caregivers, grandparents, educators, and librarians know what is available, what's on the market. David, it's a very important time because obviously the weather's starting to get a little bit better. Spring has sprung, as the expression goes. And obviously, we want to do our part to be able to encourage the love and joy of reading right now, since especially parents and educators are in the stretch run leading to the end of the school year. Sooner than we know it, it's going to be summer break, and then it'll be the back to school season. So it's always important to be able to provide these resources of care. We call them children's books, obviously, here on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, so that, again, parents, caregivers, grandparents, educators, and librarians, they know what's available for the children, the students, the grandchildren in their lives.
That's right. You know what, I was just thinking, as you mentioned books, kids still read today, but they read on different formats. Some read on iPads, but it's still a book and it's still reading. So I suppose we have to change with the times, but reading doesn't change. You know, wherever you read, whether it be a book or an iPad or whatever, you're still reading. And that's what I think we're encouraging by this bookcast.
Agreed, 100%. And before we dive into the two heartfelt reads, the two empowering reads that we are going to be sharing on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, just a little bit more house cleaning. You know, it's spring cleaning season, so we always like to be able to make sure that things are tidy here in the PR from the Heart studios. If you have been following the program for a long period of time, we again want to thank you for your continued support of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. David, we just recently eclipsed 25,000 subscribers as part of PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel. So one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for us here at PR from the Heart, for the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, and also for the children's authors' books that we will be sharing momentarily on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Feel free to subscribe to our official YouTube channel at PR from the Heart if you haven't had the chance to do so, and share this very special trolley stop on your favorite social media platforms that you are in, that you happen to enjoy each and every day, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok. We want to thank you again for your continued support, because if it were not for you, we would not have gotten to the 4-year anniversary of the program, 25,000 subscribers on our official YouTube channel. And of course, we want to pledge our support, as we have since day one of the program, for the good folks at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh. Now, if you're not familiar with Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh or Reading is Fundamental is the largest children's literacy non-for-profit organization in the United States. They provide children's books, literacy tools, and developmental resources to children that come from low-income families in many cities across the country. Now, Pittsburgh has an affiliate of Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh in the Steel City. Did you know that last year alone, the team at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh delivered more than 100,000 children's books to over 23,000 children in need? We want to make sure that the literacy rates go down and the number of kids that are enjoying books and the books that are getting out there continue to go up. So just as we're pledging our support for Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh, we encourage all of you, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and again, of course, our fellow shining stars, to pledge your support. No donation is too large. No donation is too small. You can head on over to riffpittsburgh.org/donate. And again, we've been very privileged to be able to pledge our support, very blessed and honored to pledge our support for the good folks at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh since day one over the last 4 years. David, it's interesting because depending upon what side of the aisle that you're on, depending upon what country that you live in, it's been a very interesting start to 2025, if you're watching this episode of the Bookcast in real time. And so in a world that can seem like it's ever changing, in a world that can seem maybe scarier than ever before, it's important that we connect with the things that bring us love and joy.
That's right.
Obviously, for the past 4 years, one of the things that we remind our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars know is the love and joy of reading. But specifically speaking, if you can have children's books that tie into music and dogs, let's be honest, when we're feeling down, right? And we listen to our favorite tune. I know that you're a big fan of Yo-Yo Ma on your end of things. I love listening to, my heavens, there's so many different groups and bands that I listen to. Andrea Bocelli is one of them for me. So you like Yo-Yo Ma, I like Andrea Bocelli. And of course, if you have a furry friend in your life, especially all dog lovers out there, I know Little Forrest is a huge proponent of children's books based on dogs, but we are going to be sharing 2 brand new children's books as part of episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. So whether you are a music lover, whether you are a dog lover, whether you are a lover of both, we've got all bases covered on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. So David, the first story that we are going to be sharing, is we always start at the top, the forefront, and the onset here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. The trolley's racking up a lot of mileage, as always. We go from San Diego to the Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where we will be together once again very soon. And then we head to the Sunshine State of Florida. We head to Jacksonville, Florida, to be precise. Dr. Meridith Taylor Strout's brand new children's book, The More, the Merrier. So, David, we're going to cover, if you're a music fan and you remember listening to records back in the day, they had the A side and the B side. So we've got 2 wonderful tunes. We're counting them down here on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. David, let us start off by cracking the cover and diving inside the pages, going inside the pages of Dr. Meridith Taylor Strout's The More, the Merrier.
All right, we'll do that. I have some notes here, so
trusted notes.
Excuse me if I glance away here and there, but I wanted to put some thoughts down, and I wanted to say in the preface, Meridith dedicates the book to her parents, who she says gave her the perfect balance of grit and grace, and to her children, who bring her joy, much joy every day, and to anyone who's ever felt left out. And I think that is the theme of the book. So we'll go on. And she hopes that we all realize that by including others is something that can be done at any age and any situation. We rise by lifting others. So the book begins, or the story begins, with Ella opening her birthday present. And Ella is probably mid-elementary age. So maybe she's 8, 9, 10. And her families all gather about when she's opening the presents. And I can't wait to open this one, she says. And it makes a funny sound when you shake it. And when she opens it, there are 5 different musical instruments in the package. And she puts them all on the table and names each instrument and the sound each one makes. Now, when you see the book, the illustration, you'll see all of these. And with the instrument, there'll be the sound that it makes. For instance, the maracas, the sound is shake, shake. And the wood sounder, rubbing sticks together. And the sound is ribbit, ribbit. And the handbells, of course, the sound is ring, ring. And the tambourine, the sound is rattle, rattle. And the chime bar is ding, ding. And all of these are illustrated in the book. Well, she hugs and thanks her grandmother for the present. I can't wait to hear what they sound like. So, oh, I know, she said. Can I hear all the instruments at once? So she had an idea. It'd be fun to play with my friends and play with the instruments. So the next day, Ella met her friend Kate at the park. And Ella brought all the instruments with her because she hopes she will meet some new friends. In a way, music is introducing her to some new friends. When Ella got to the park, she showed Kate her new musical instruments, and Kate chose the maracas, and she shook them. Wow, these make a fun sound, said Kate. Then Ella picks up the tambourine. Well, let's see, I need more friends. And she shakes the tambourine and looks around the park. And she walked over to a boy sitting on a bench, and he was all alone. And she said, well, my name is Ella. What's your name? Well, mine is Marcus. And he looks at the wood sounder, and he takes it and makes a ribbit sound. So there's another part of her orchestra. Then Ella goes over to a little girl who's sitting on a swing all by herself. The girl's name is Zoe, and she wants to play the bells. Zoe wants to play the bells because bells make her think of lunchtime. And Ella loves to hear the instruments make their own unique sound. But she has one more instrument left. And she looked around the park and she saw a little boy playing basketball by himself. Hi, I'm Ella, she said. Would you like to play in our band? And I'm Jacob. It makes me happy to know you want me to play in your band. And Ella hands him the chime bar. It makes a sound when you hit it in the middle, says Jacob, and he made the sound of the chime bar. Then Ella and her friends play their instruments together. And though the musical instruments, and through the musical instruments. Now, this is interesting. Ella heard the laughter of her friends. In other words, when this music was going on, she heard the laughter of her friends, and she realizes that when you include other people, it brings joy to everyone.
Very true.
And as Ella looks around, she feels so happy that her musical birthday presents are making such beautiful sounds. And all of her new friends are laughing, dancing, and making music. And here is the last sentence. It's a short book. The last sentence includes, it says, including others makes everyone feel good. I like that. Including others makes everyone feel good. And that is the lesson of the book. But on the last page of the book, it has pictures of each instrument. And the reader is asked if they remember the name of each instrument. So there's a little exercise after the book has been read. And there's another one. I like this one. It's like, Where's Waldo? And there's a picture of a squirrel. And the squirrel is asking the reader, how many times have you seen me in the story? And I was thinking, well, maybe if they don't know, they can go back, start again, and look for the squirrel, and maybe start rereading the book again. And as I was reading the book, I noticed the squirrel in each on each page. There's a squirrel doing something involved in the story, and I hope people will look for the squirrel because it gives the child a second chance to read the book and just reinforcing reading. And also, I was also thinking, if you're an adult reading the book to a child or you're a teacher, it can also be a class project. By having the teacher, for instance, say, well, we've read this book through. Now our assignment is to count how many times you've seen the squirrel in the book, and maybe go back and read it again. In other words, I think that maybe by doing that encourages rereading the book and reading. But it's a short book, but and you can do the sounds too. You can, as you're reading the book to a child or a teacher to a class, you can have them make the sounds of each one. It's in a way participatory, if that's the right word. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I liked the book. It was a delightful little book combining music and making friends through music. That's what Ella did. She made some new friends through her love of music. And that basically is the story of The More the Merrier. So I guess the more the merrier means the more friends you have playing music, the more the merrier.
That's very true, David. This is a very insightful and heartfelt neighborly review. And several of my takeaways, first things first, it's only fitting that we are recording, as I mentioned, this episode of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, our 47th trolley stop to be precise, on what would have been the 97th birthday of Fred Rogers. And one of the things that made Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood stand out was the beautiful music that Fred curated with Johnny Costa, I believe his name was, if I'm not
mistaken. Right. That was our musical director, yes, and pianist.
And being able to have different musical inflections, different music that would get the kids' attention, even just in terms of the cool sounds. Like, of course, we all still remember and we love the neighborhood trolley, right? And the trolley would obviously go ding, ding. And when kids heard the ding, ding, they knew that it was time to pay attention, right? So just when you see the musical instruments in the beginning of The More the Merrier, again, the maracas do the shake, shake, the wood sounder does the ribbit, ribbit, the chime bar does the ding, ding, the tambourine goes rattle, rattle, and the handbells go ring, ring. So right off the bat, even before the story starts, kids have the opportunity to engage even more so. When you hear those fun sounds, you get the really cool, almost kind of like a goofy look on your face, like I have as of right now, because we all still have the inner child that lies within us. The illustrations are absolutely beautiful. Ramesh Ram, who actually did the illustrations, did an absolutely incredible job, because you see again Ella celebrating a very important day in her life. One of the most important days, probably the most important day of our life, is our birthday, because that is the day that we were born. So you see again right off the bat, it's a celebration. And the celebration continues because obviously Ella wants to do her part to be able to connect and to create more friends. And this leads into one of the other reasons why I love the story, is because it talks about inclusivity in a very gentle way in a world right now. Again, if you're watching this episode of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast in real time, anything involving either diversity or inclusion, it seems like it's going in the opposite direction instead of the forward direction. And ultimately, this goes back to something that David, you're still a huge proponent of. Everyone on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was the importance of, ultimately at our core, we all want to be loved, appreciated, and accepted. And acceptance is really key. We have to be able to love and accept ourselves before we can go out and accept other people. And if anything, when we take the time to love and accept ourselves even more, we have the opportunity to love and accept other people that come into our lives. So you can tell Ella is very connected with her family. She's really enjoying the moments of her birthday, and she really wants to bring that love and joy out into the world as well, too. So again, I know it's interesting, and I mentioned this, maybe I haven't mentioned this on past episodes of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, but I think this part I did. I remember growing up, I had one of those Fisher-Price record players, a little suitcase.
Oh, yes.
That they still have right now. And I remember as a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, I had everything, records from We Are the World to Michael Jackson's Bad to Peter Gabriel's So, Dire Straits. I forget what was their big album, Money for Nothing, if I'm not mistaken. Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA, Janet Jackson's Control, Cyndi Lauper's True Colors, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun. So I had a very eclectic mix.
Oh, you did.
From a 5 through 9-year-old. But again, there's something about music. If we're having, it can just be a rough day. We can be moving through a very challenging or difficult season of our life. Or we could be moving through what many people refer to as the divine storm, where it could seem like everything that could possibly go wrong is going wrong. There's been scientific research that has been done that says when we listen to music, our brains are calmer, our nervous system is more relaxed, we're in a less stressful state. So again, in a world where there's many stressors, many triggers, and there's more fear maybe than any time in recent history, if not even ever, the importance of leaning on music. In fact, there's that Bill Withers song, Lean on Me, that comes to mind when I'm actually sharing this. The importance of leaning on your friends as well, too. Just such an amazing story. And it's interesting because I want to give a shout out to my grammar school music teacher, Mr. Frank Cantafio, who is actually my confirmation sponsor as well, too. As part of my national book tour, I'm going to be taking some time to see him when I'm in Western New York to, of course, share Walking Each Other Home, Zachary's Mission, a hospice for children. But it just goes to show you that even the power of music, the people that you meet in your life, whether you go to a concert and you meet a new friend there, or for me growing up, still in communication all these years with my grammar school music teacher, there's something, David, about music that really, just like reading, and especially children's books, you really can't put the feeling into words. There's just something about music that is really soothing and beautiful.
And I think there's a lot of empathy in Ella. You know, she sees the children sitting by themselves, and I think she empathizes with that and wants to get them to be her friend. And the music is the connection. They're all joining together to make music and friends. So it's a delightful little story, and I'm glad it was chosen for the Bookcast.
Same here, very much included. Again, we encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. You can pledge your support for Dr. Meridith Taylor Strout by purchasing, enjoying, reading, and reviewing your copy of The More the Merrier. Again, it is now available. You can head on over to Amazon.com if that's your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. Of course, one of the many ways you can pledge your support for Dr. Meridith is by leaving that 5-star review that lets you know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, for those who love great music, and for those who love great children's books as well, too. If you head on over to your favorite local library, your favorite children's or independent bookstore, here, of course, David, on the Bookcast, we refer to local libraries, children's and independent bookstores as the pillars of our community. If they do not stock their copies of The More the Merrier, make that kind recommendation. Let them know that you heard about it right here on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. And of course, you can also head over to Dr. Meridith's official website, meridithtaylor-strout.com. So again, David, now we flip over from the A side to the B side. Both of these are not only beautiful tunes, but they're also amazing books in their own right. So we have the opportunity, again, we're traveling, we're racking up the mileage, David. We go from San Diego to Pittsburgh to Jacksonville, and then we head back to, well, we go from the sunny state, the sunshine state of Florida, to a state that's also very sunny in California, to Ventura, California, just right outside of Los Angeles. And now we're going to be cracking the cover and diving into the pages of one of my favorite reads that's come out in recent memory, Angel and Tracey Jimenez's Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted. So David, just a little bit of a backdrop. Angel and Tracey are husband and wife. And one of the cool things about, having the opportunity to work with Angel and Tracey, when you have the opportunity to create together in life, not only just within your own marriage, relationship, when you can create and give back to other people and be of service to children, this is just one of the main reasons why this story stands out. And Safety Dog Diego is a very special dog. And I know that little Forrest, when he had the chance to read it, he could really connect with Safety Dog Diego. When you look at the cover, as you now see on screen, he's such a lovable dog, but he's also reminding kids to be safe. And that is the important thing, again, especially when we live in a world that has, as I mentioned, a little more fear and a little more doubt. Kids can feel a little bit more anxious, insecure, stressed. So this is where Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted comes in. So David, let's crack the cover and dive into the pages of Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted, co-authored by Angel and Tracey Jimenez.
Well, in the dedication of the book, the idea of Safety Dog Diego was inspired by Tracey and Angel becoming grandparents. Right. Tracey remembered how her grandmother would incorporate Tracey's name and some of her favorite things into books they were reading together. And Tracey wanted to do something similar to her soon-to-be born grandson, Alexander, which is also the name of my son, Alexander. and they realized that they had the perfect idea for a story with their French bulldog, Diego. As a puppy, Diego went to construction sites with Angel. Angel worked was a construction worker, and he was known as the safety guy. And Diego became Safety Dog Diego. And both Angel and Tracey loved dogs and wanted to share their love of dogs, not only with their grandson, but with all young readers. They are advocates for adopting dogs and providing them with loving homes. And I must say, I am too. The last 4 dogs that we had in our family were all adopted. So if you're thinking about a dog, consider adopting. It just, but I have a problem when I go into the where they have the adopted dogs. I try not to go in because I want to take them all home with me. So I have a hard time, but we did. We managed. We had 2 mastiffs, Gus
and Bear,
and Nellie and Bear, over the years. At any rate, so I'll do a little promo for Try Adopting. Well, the story begins in San Diego, where a lively and curious French bulldog puppy lived. That's Diego. And he trotted through the streets exploring all corners of the city. And one day he was chasing a butterfly, and Diego found himself in an unfamiliar sight. It had big structures and tall buildings. It was a construction site, and Diego's nose was twitching with curiosity. He was a very curious dog. And while sniffing around, he climbed into a bulldozer bucket. But he soon heard a friendly voice, and it was the safety guy. And he lifted Diego out of the bucket, telling him you have to be careful here. It's a construction site, so you have to be careful. Well, then the safety guy phoned his wife and explained that he found this little puppy at the construction site, and can we keep him till we find a home? We find a home for him, or we find his home. Well, the wife said that Diego must go to work with him because there was no one at home to take care of Diego, because his wife worked too. So they wanted to make sure that somebody was there to take care of him. Well, so Diego went to the construction site, and his first day at work, he was excited and he was darting all over the construction area, and he got in a little bit of trouble. So the safety guy told Diego that safety on a construction site was very important. And he gave Diego his own safety hat and safety vest. And Diego was an honorary member of the team, of the construction team. When in the course of trying to be a part of the team, Diego tried to help a worker carry some tools one day, but he accidentally knocked over the toolbox and he felt upset by his mistake. He was just so anxious to please and do things. But the safety guy kindly told Diego that mistakes make us learn. But remember, it is important to stay safe and stay well. And I think that sentence is the theme throughout the whole book.
Agreed.
Mistakes make us learn, and we can apply that in our own lives, as an adult or children, that you can learn from your mistakes. And I think that's an important thing to tell children. Well, Diego was inspired by the words and noticed a worker getting into his work gear, and Diego fetched safety goggles for the worker. He was trying to be so helpful. And another day, Diego noticed a loose guardrail that was protecting, but it was loose. And he barked and he alerted the workers, and they repaired it. So he's and touched by Diego's dedication, the safety guy and his wife, Mimi, decided to adopt Diego. You are part of our family now, Diego. Well, on another day, Diego's alertness warned a worker to look out for a truck that was backing up, and the worker didn't see it. And Diego's barking prevented an accident. The worker patted Diego on the head for the warning and thanked him for preventing an accident. He got a big pat on the head. Diego's doing his job. Well, the next day, Diego guided a group of visitors around the site with the safety guy, showing visitors safe pathways, and Diego was proudly wearing his safety gear that he was given. The workers began to appreciate Diego's efforts, and all the workers agreed that Diego brought safety and joy to the site. Safety and joy Diego brought to the construction site. And as each day passed, Diego grew in confidence and in the value of his responsibilities and the importance from learning from mistakes. Well, with all this, one day, the workers gave a special gift to Diego. They made him an honorary safety officer. Diego proudly wore all of his safety gear, vest, hard hat, and goggles. They were all on him. And at the ceremony where this special honorary was given, Diego was standing next to the safety guy, and Diego's eyes sparkled with pride. He had found a purpose at the construction site, reminding everyone the importance of safety. But probably the most important feeling that I think for Diego was that he was able to snuggle each night with his new family and dreaming of tomorrow's adventures. Oh, and this also is a rather short book. Here are the last two sentences. Angel and Tracey wrap up their story by writing, with a heart full of bravery and a nose for safety, Diego was more than a pup. He was a hero, leaving paw prints of love and safety wherever he went. And at the end of the story, there's a safety dog theme song, and it goes on, but part of the song is this. He's brown and tan and shakes his tail. He says, stay safe and stay well. That's part of the song. But that is followed by, and this is after the story's over, there's pages that have a safety oath.
The oath.
And, well, I'll read the first part of it. I promise to be safe each day in all my work and all my play. I'll wear my gear and take it slow. Safety first is how I'll grow. And it goes on for a couple more verses. But what I like at the very end, the final image that you see in the book is a paw print, and it's signed Safety Dog Diego. Yep. And I think it's a lovely book that reminds children, you have to think too. You just can't go, construction site running around playing. You've got to think where you are, and that message gets through. And I think it can be reinforced by the parent maybe reading the book or the teacher. And the safety oath too. It goes on for about four or five paragraphs. Could be an assignment. I remember when I was in the 8th grade, for some reason we had to memorize poems.
Okay.
And we'd have to memorize and do it in front of the class. Well, if I were the teacher, I think I would have them memorize these safety rules, because it does stick with you. I can still remember that poem. The name of the poem was The Pirate Don Dirk of Doughty. That was the name of the poem I had to remember. And if I can remember that, maybe children can remember some of these safety rules by memorizing the safety oath. So that's the story of it's the official name of the book is
Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted.
Safety Dog Diego, and he certainly proves that he's a safety dog. And again, going back to music and dogs, what more can you ask for?
This is such a, and I always using the word positive instead of positive, it's positive.
Yes.
That was a positive neighborly review, David. There's so many great takeaways for kids and also for us as big kids, grown adults, so to speak. First things first, as I mentioned, when we started our neighborly review, Safety Dog Diego is such a lovable pup. You can see that literally right on the cover of the book. And the cover of the book is the most important thing, the cover art. That's the first thing that a child sees, that a parent sees, that an educator sees. So again, we're talking about safety, and it's important right off the bat. When you see a lovable pup, kids feel safe automatically. So it might just be a little subtle, small nuance, but Angel and Tracey really pay attention to the small details of things. Obviously, again, kids are curious when they see big buildings being built. I know that every time when I lived in Buffalo and I would drive to Toronto, they would always be building things in Toronto. There was always cranes up and new things being built in the process. So when you see a construction site, kids' imaginations can just kind of perk up a little bit, so to speak. So also, kids, as they're growing up, they want to run around. They want to go everywhere. They're very curious. And it's important, like I know for little Forrest, for example, again, we have to, he's my dog son, so to speak. So when he was first a pup on his end of things, I had to teach him, like, no, we don't go running around outside. You wait for me so that, I can put on your leash, and then we take the 10, we go together. Kids need to know, and little pups as well too, need to know the importance of safety so that you can be curious but you can be safe at the same point in time as well, too. The different lessons about safety, this can also create a springboard conversation in classrooms, is also on the home front. Safety is obviously needed on a job site, but safety is needed in the classroom. Safety is needed at home. If you're going to the amusement park, we've got baseball season kicking off. Whenever you're going to the ballpark with mom, dad, brother, sister, whomever the case might be, it's important that kids know the importance of safety across the board. And especially as well, too, this is one of the things I know that Fred was a strong proponent of. He wanted kids to be safe, to let kids know that there are trusted adults that are in your life that will help you to be safe as well, too. So again, the story just might look like Safety Dog Diego, and he's on a construction site and he's doing his part to learn. He's doing his part to learn from his mistakes along the way. But the story, I know, at least for me, is creating a springboard conversation. And undoubtedly, it's creating springboard conversations for parents and grandparents and for educators in the classroom as well, too. And the importance of making mistakes. I know that, growing up and even into my adult life, there's been many a times where I've been a little hard on myself, so to speak. And the importance of knowing the fact that mistakes are part of life. And as the safety guy says on page 16, we're showing this spread now here on screen, mistakes help us learn, Diego. You're doing great. So you also have that reinforcement. Mm-hmm. This is important that throughout the story that Diego knows that he's supported, he's experiencing something new. So in many respects, Safety Dog Diego is almost like a child to a certain extent. So again, there can be kind of that healthy substitute in the process.
Well, in a way, Diego is the child in the story. The child can sort of put himself in the place of Diego, and to be safe. But it's a very important book, I think. And what's really important is to encourage children to think. You think before you leap, whatever that expression is. I think that's important to encourage children to think, and it's not easy. Nope. It's not easy. As you said, it has to be reinforced.
Agreed.
With dogs and with children.
I think the expression goes, "Look before you leap."
Yeah, that's it. Look before you leap. You knew what I meant, though.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Or listen before you leap, whatever.
And such a fun story as well, too. I know that we just came across, we were coming off the heels of a National Read Across America Week as well, too. And that's the time where many parents and many educators really stay connected. But National Read Across America Week just doesn't have to be 1 week. It can literally be like you can make your own National Read Across America Day each and every day when you take the time to read to your kids. If you're a grandparent, you can take the time to read to your grandchildren, whether it be, especially I know growing up, when I would spend time at my grandmother's and I would go over, I would always be looking forward to the possibility of hearing stories from my grandmother and reading them to me before I went to sleep. Again, we encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, some of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Angel and Tracey Jimenez. You can, of course, head on over to Amazon.com. If that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, you can leave a 5-star review after purchasing, reading, and enjoying your copy of Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted. Leaving a 5-star review for Angel and Tracey lets them know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books, and for all dog lovers out there as well, too. If you head on over to your favorite local library, your favorite children's or independent bookstore, and they do not stock their copies of Safety Dog Diego, make that kind recommendation. Let them know that you heard about it right here on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, or 47th Trolley Stop to be precise as well, too. And of course, when we take the time to promote all of our children's authors' books here on the program, each and every month here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, when we share these episodes on social media, we encourage you to stay connected moving forward with Dr. Meridith and with also Safety Dog Diego, so you can follow along with the appropriate ats on social media, especially if you are learning about and following along the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast on Instagram. One of the fastest growing endorsements in the world of children's literature, of course, is very similar to, yet a little bit different. If you were a big movie buffs in the 80s and 90s, you remember Siskel and Ebert, the beloved movie critic duo. When they liked a movie and they reviewed it together, they would give it 2 thumbs up. Well, little Forrest, my pride and joy, had the opportunity to enjoy not only The More the Merrier, but also Safety Dog Diego. And we have 2 respective sets of 2 paws up. So little Forrest is giving 2 paws up, as you see here on the left, and 2 paws up, as you see on the right, for both The More the Merrier and Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted. Little Forrest, thank you for your contributions to episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. So again, David, the takeaways, what will you take away from episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast? Needless to say, again, we've got everyone covered. If you're a lover of books, we've got you covered. If you're a lover of music, we've got you covered. If you're a lover of dogs, we've got you covered. We always have all the bases covered on the Neighborly Reviews.
I think you just said it. I love music and I love dogs and I love reading. And I'll go back again. I've said it over and over on this bookcast. One of my favorite first books was Uncle Wiggily, that no one seems to remember, but that's what got me started reading.
Yep.
My mother knew I liked the Uncle Wiggily series. She took me to meet the author, whose name was Howard R. Garris. He lived in East Orange, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I think all of that gave me my love for books and Uncle Wiggily. Animals was a big part of Uncle Wiggily series, all of that. But it was my mother who started that. The parents reinforced it and followed through. And I think that's very important to, if you know what your child likes, or you do think that they may like something, test it out. And it worked with me. Howard R. Garris, that's the author of Uncle Wiggily. So probably no one has heard, but now they have. On this bookcast, I think I've mentioned Uncle Wiggily every bookcast.
David, it all began for you with Uncle Wiggily, and for children today, it can all begin with The More the Merrier. It can begin.
That's right.
It can begin with Safety Dog Diego. You can start wherever you are. And if you're just looking to, especially for those parents who are bringing little ones into the world for the first time and they're now just building their own library, if you're looking for the 2 perfect books to start things off, these are 2 of the perfect books to be able to add to your library. When we hear the trolley, that means that it is time to go. But fear not, there are many more magical trolley stops to come here on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast as well, too. But first things first, before we close out the program, raise your hand if you have had fun on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Hands up from David, hands up from myself, paws up from little Forrest, hands up from the little ones on screen. As we like to say, that means mission accomplished, job well done. David, when we reconnect, it will be a big celebration. Now, this will be coming off the heels of the heavenly birthday celebration of Fred Rogers. We will be celebrating, and who knows, maybe when you see us next, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars, maybe we will be donning Pittsburgh's best tuxes together, because it's episode number 48 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. We will be back at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the home of Point Park University. And we will be having the opportunity to reconnect, David, and have a wonderful celebration. We have a little sneak preview as of right now, because this is very meaningful to me, because one of the books that we are going to be sharing on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast is the release of my new children's book, Walking Each Other Home, Zachary's Mission, a Hospice for Children, and also a longtime friend of us here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, Dr. Schaefer, has her new children's book. She's going to be joining us in studio as well to talk about her journey. She's an amazing doctor on her end of things. She is also the mom of Amelie Anastasia. So if you remember our Bookcast episode just a few months ago, one of the country's youngest philanthropists and children's authors, now 11-year-old Amelie Anastasia, Wolf Tales, Fox Tales 2 and Wolf Tales. Dr. Schaefer has her new children's book, The Boy and His Brightly Colored Blocks, as well too. If we love our time next month, we may even stick around for another month. It's always fun when we can spend literally 2 full months together in the Steel City, in the home of our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers. But David, I know that you're really excited because, again, I remember connecting with you. It seems like 10 lifetimes ago, and we landed up saying, what can we do to better the lives of children? And I said, how about the neighborly reviews? And then you said, John, is it a podcast, or is it's a bookcast? And then you coined the name the Bookcast, and then here we are 4 years later. So I know that I'm really excited to be able to spend some time with you next month as part of my national book tour stop in Pittsburgh.
Okay, we will see you then. You're going to have a busy summer, I think.
That is
promoting and talking and visiting a lot of TV stations. Yes. I hope.
Yes. So again, I want to thank all of you for your continued support for the launch of Walking Each Other Home, Zachary's Mission, a hospice for children. You can purchase your copy by heading over to my official website. I like to keep it simple, so it's my first name and my last name.com, johnmasiulionis.com. You can also head on over to amazon.com. Be sure to leave that 5-star review. That's one of the many ways you can pledge your support. I haven't said this yet, but you can pledge your support for me, which I'm very grateful for. That lets me know that I'm doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books. And again, we really appreciate those 5-star reviews as well in the process. Stay connected to @JohnMasiulionis. So we've got social media platforms @PR from the Heart and @JohnMasiulionis for all the details on the Walking Each Other Home, Zachary's Mission, a hospice for children national book tour. If you are a children's author, like Angel and Tracey, like Dr. Meridith, and like myself, and you're watching the program, and if you say, you know what, I really like this Neighborly Reviews Bookcast program, and I would like to have David and John share my brand new children's book and deliver a heartfelt review, a neighborly review of my brand new children's book. We're looking forward to sharing more empowering reads throughout 2025 and beyond. So if you are a children's author and would like for David and I to review your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, you can head on over to our official website, prfromtheheart.com, or connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen: Facebook, Instagram, X, all at PR from the Heart. And of course, the sister program of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast is the Children's Book Spotlight series, which, hard to believe, just as we're celebrating the 4-year anniversary of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, we're going to be celebrating the 7-year anniversary of the Children's Book Spotlight series, where I'm blessed and fortunate to interview prominent celebrity children's authors, New York Times bestsellers, and the top award-winning and best-selling children's authors and middle grade authors in the world of children's literature. So if you are a children's or middle grade author and would love to hop aboard the trolley and have me interview you on a forthcoming edition of the Children's Book Spotlight series to share your inspiring story and the release of your brand new children's book, you know where to connect with us: prfromtheheart.com or any of our social media platforms, all at PR from the Heart. And again, many children's authors' missions are truly taking flight. I'm very, again, fortunate that is happening in my life. And there are many children's authors across the country and around the world whose journeys are just taking flight as well, too. So if you are a children's author and are looking for dedicated PR publicity support for the launch of your new children's book, whether it be to facilitate a featured in-studio television interview in your backyard, or a full book media tour in your city, or even a national book media tour, head on over to our official website, prfromtheheart.com. Schedule your courtesy connection call. Let us see how we can be of service to you. We've been very fortunate now as we're approaching our 11-year anniversary. We've been of support to some of the top children's authors in the kidlit community, ranging from Sharon Lewis and Bram, the iconic co-creators of Skinnamarink dinky dink, skinnamarink doo. We love you. Of course, the co-stars of the long-running hit Nickelodeon series and also on CBC, The Elephant Show, ranging to John Parra and Catherine Roy, again, to many more authors across the country and around the world. So let us see how we can be of service to you. As we wind down one final time, again, Dr. Meridith Taylor Strout's The More the Merrier and Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted. They are now both available. Our featured empowered reads here on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. If Amazon.com is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, be sure to leave 5-star reviews for both The More the Merrier and Safety Dog Diego. That lets Dr. Meridith, Angel, and Tracey know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books. If you head on over to your favorite local library, your favorite children's or independent bookstore, and they do not stock their copies of The More the Merrier and Safety Dog Diego Gets Adopted, make that kind recommendation. Let them know that you heard about it right here on episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. And again, we also want to thank you for your continued support of Reading is Fundamental. Since day one, we have been privileged to pledge our support to the good folks at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh, which once again, they are the Pittsburgh chapter of the largest national non-for-profit children's literacy organization in the country. They provide children's books, literacy tools, developmental resources to children that come from low-income families all across the Steel City. Did you know that last year alone, Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh delivered more than 100,000 children's books to over 23,000 children in need? Again, we want to see the literacy numbers go up, not down. We want to see the number of children's books that are in the hands of children, the number of kids that are reading. We want to see these numbers continue to raise and to skyrocket with each passing day. We don't want to see stories about literacy rates plummeting. We want to have that be in the rearview mirror. So again, one of the ways that you can pledge your support for Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh is to pledge your financial support if you feel guided and inclined to do so. Head on over to riffpittsburgh.org/donate. As we like to say here on the program, no donation is too large. No donation is too small as well, too. But again, the trolley's been very patient as well, too. It's saying, come on now, we're heading to Pittsburgh next. It's got, I'm wondering if trolleys wear tuxes, because if that's the case, I think that the trolley that's been with us since day one, it wants to wear its Sunday best, as the expression goes. So we want to thank you for your continued support of PR from the Heart, for your continued support of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, for your continued support of children's authors across the country and around the world, such as Dr. Meridith Taylor Strout and Angel and Tracey Jimenez, who are doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books, all music lovers, all dog lovers. We got everything covered there. For your continued support of local libraries and children's and independent bookstores, truly the pillars of our community. But above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world. If this trolley stop has inspired you, if it's lifted your spirits, if you say anything, you know what, John and David and little Forrest, I'm going to shake my maracas and I'm going to get myself a brand new dog. One of the many ways that you can also pledge your support for us here at PR from the Heart and for the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, and also Dr. Meridith and Angel, is to subscribe. If you haven't had the chance to do so, subscribe to our official YouTube channel at PR from the Heart. Join the more than 25,000 members of the PR from the Heart family, our loyal YouTube subscribers, and share this very special trolley stop that you have just enjoyed, episode number 47 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, on your favorite social media platforms of your choosing. We always feel the presence of Fred Rogers. We feel his presence, his spirit, and his heart, especially when we record on his what would have been his 97th birthday. And did you know that Fred weighed 143 pounds during his entire natural adult life? You might be wondering, David, little Forrest, John, why are you bringing this up as you're exiting stage right, in the immortal words of Snagglepuss, the beloved cartoon from way back in the day? Well, Fred knew what he was doing, because he was reminding us of our inherent worth and our inherent value. And he reminded us of how loved and how special that we were, that we are still in this present moment. 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you, as a little tip of the cap to Fred Rogers, especially as we celebrate his 97th heavenly birthday. And we celebrate his presence and his spirit, his message and his mission that continues to live on, his life and his legacy. We share our favorite 3 numbers of 243. There's 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. So in our own private numerology here on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, we are reminding you that we like you, that we love you just the way that you are whole, that you are healthy, that you are complete, that you are liked, that you are loved, that you are special, just the way that you are. So for little Forrest, for David Newell, for myself, John Masiulionis, thank you for your continued support for PR from the Heart, for the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. We look forward to donning our Sunday best, our tuxes, whatever we decide to wear. We're definitely going to be wearing some dapper attire, as the expression goes. So we look forward to seeing you for our next trolley stop with our friends and neighbors at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as we celebrate the 4-year anniversary celebration of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Thank you for helping us to walk home, the children of the world, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.